Hello and welcome. Within this video, we will introduce some of the new functionality of KUMAVISION products to you. The video has chapters for each product and app. This way, it is easy for you to decide what to watch and what to skip. Let's get started with a short overview slide. My name is Kiva, and I will accompany you through highlights of our product improvements for the apps mentioned on this slide. Please take your time and pause the video to familiarize with the content if you like. For additional convenience, we've created chapters for each app, allowing you to browse the content at your preference. First things first. Our Booster app offers many important additional functionalities that enhance the standard Business Central. It is on the one hand an own app named Booster that can be installed and used, and on the other hand, it comes along as the base of all KUMAVISION vertical solutions. This means if you are using one of these vertical solutions like factory, healthcare, medtech, project, or trade, this information is useful to you too. Let's dive in a bit deeper on what are improvements to our Booster app that are good to know. On this and the following page, you will find the headlines for all features we introduce in this video. As these are quite some headlines, you may just pause the video to read through all topics or just move on and let us run you through all those shortly. By the way, the last two features are for modules within the Booster app and apply only if these modules are activated and used in your environment. Initialization. Whenever installing our Booster app within a Business Central environment which contains data, you should run our initialization first. That ensures that existing data from your solution is clean and prepared, allowing you to start using the solution immediately. An initialization can only be carried out once per company. If it already has been done, an information is given accordingly. And while running it, there will be no extra questions whether you like to change or skip data. Please be aware that if you are not only use our Booster app, but one of our vertical solutions or other solutions, please get in touch with your KUMAVISION contact person to discuss whether an initialization is useful and how to carry it out in your case. The following example is presented in Business Central and concludes the topic of initializing the KUMAVISION Booster. Let me demonstrate why initialization can be important based on one example, with already existing data in your Business Central environment and a new field that has been added by the Booster installation. Therefore, we open the sales invoice. Newly added is the field print line, which, as you can see here, is not set to true. Now, let's start with the initialization, which is available in the assisted setup, and once more, please be aware to only use this right after new installation and before using the Booster app. The wizard has only one step. After the note that this step is only necessary if you already have data in your Business Central company. You can continue. Please note that the initialization may take a few minutes depending on how much data you already have in Business Central. In this last step of this assisted setup, you also close it. Let's take a quick look at an example of the solution data initialized here. To do this, let's go back to the posted sales invoice and take a look at the print indicator on the lines. This field is new and controls the print. The field has now been initialized with true by default. Create setup data. This feature allows you to prepare the solution for usage in test or production systems through the creation of all required data in no time right after installing it. We are creating data such as a new special number series for dispatch processing and process document ID. In addition, the new reports for the solution are entered in the report selections, as well as other KUMAVISION Booster specific content. Please be aware that while this gets you easily started in your production or test environments, it is not desirable if you already completed some or all of the setups manually, as your work will then be overwritten. Let me show you now how to run this in Business Central. I will use an example to show you why it makes sense to create setup data. We create a new sales order. And get an error message that the process document ID must have a value. This field has a number that is automatically assigned in the sales setup. To create this number series, the function to generate the setup data can be used. Open the KUMAVISION module setup via Tell Me. Click Related and then Setup and Demo Data. Here you see all modules which provide you with these functions. In our example, only the KUMAVISION base is installed. Through one click, we now create the setup data. This is where data such as number series, but also, for example, the report selections are created in Business Central. I will show you what data we have created here using two small examples. For the first example, we open the sales setup via Tell Me. There you can see the number series for the process document ID of our solution. This number series was created and entered. The second example is the report selection for sales. We also open this via Tell Me. You can see here that we have entered the reports of our solution with the creation of the setup data. Let us create a new sales order, and you see that we can create the sales order as the number series is now available. For our example, we just enter an item and quantity. When printing, you can see that the layout of the app is already being used now. Beginning and ending, text for prepayment. We have extended the functionality of the beginning and ending texts to include them also for prepayment documents for sales and purchase. Therefore, you can now define within the extended text that they are printed on prepayment documents as shown. Setting default location code in logistics. In Business Central Standard, you can assign one or more locations to a warehouse employee. However, before our change, when creating logistics documents such as warehouse receipt or warehouse shipment, the user must still select the location manually. The default location of your warehouse employee is now automatically inserted in your logistic documents like warehouse shipment or receipt. This reduces the need to enter existing information, allowing you to spend your time on other important tasks. Show and hide price in bundles. If you use bundles before the detailed prices of a position have not been printed within the lines, just the total price for the bundle, we now implemented a setup where you can decide whether you want those prices to be printed or not. For documents that are electronically transmitted, you cannot hide the price information of the lines. They will always be transmitted instead of the bundle total. Here in the sales and receivables setup, we have added the new option to control whether this information is displayed when the document is printed. If the option is active, the price is printed in the lines of the document. If the option is not activated, the prices of the individual lines are not printed, only the total. Please note, however, that if the document is transmitted electronically, the price information for the individual lines will still be transmitted. Compatibility of electronic documents. We are hitting a quite special technical topic for data exchange here. If you are using our Booster app and you are transferring e-documents in common formats such as PEPL, some of the additional line types as headings, bundles, line totals, or lines with print lines equals false have to be skipped during export. Adjustments were necessary to ensure compatibility. With the data exchange option, a customized pre-mapping code unit must be stored in the respective data exchange definition for the field mapping. Please be aware that there might be already individual changes in your definitions, and if you are not a data exchange specialist yourself, please get help from our KUMAVISION specialists before changing anything. Service Integration Dispatch Order. With the new Service Comfort function for dispatch order, we expand the capabilities of Business Central and support you in making processes more efficient and transparent. This function allows you to record packaging directly within the service order under package lines. As a result, the packaging is automatically transferred to the dispatch order, and the spare part is already registered as packaged in this posted dispatch order without the need to manually add packaging like before. Let's explore how the feature has been integrated into Business Central. To use the function, open the Service Orders page via the search. A service order has already been created here. The service order is for repairing a machine. Under the Shipping tab, you will find the lines where packaging can be entered. In our example, the packaging 01 box has been entered with a quantity of 1. Next, we take a look at the lines to see which items are being processed as part of this service. Under Order Service lines, we identify the spare parts required for this service. In this case, we need screws for the repair of a machine. Here we see the screws with a quantity of 10. The delivery of the newly entered line is then posted. We now open the posted dispatch order by searching for and accessing the most recently posted one. Within, the spare part is listed with a quantity of 10 packaged in one box, as reflected in the order lines. Package lines and service orders now ensure that spare parts are processed in the dispatch order with the appropriate packaging. Single parcel shipment. Let's now move on to another functional enhancement in dispatching processing, which aims to optimize the handling of dispatching orders with many item positions. In practice, it is often the case that not all item positions of a dispatching order are to be shipped simultaneously. This is why customers with many items in the shipping order want to be able to book individual packages in advance so that a label can be generated in advance. Not too many packages have to be parked in the outgoing goods department, and a clear overview is maintained. The following extension of our shipping solution offers the possibility to efficiently manage and execute partial deliveries by activating the new parameter single parcel shipment. First, we open an existing dispatch order. To explain the functional enhancement, let's look at a dispatch order where 2 out of 5 positions are to be dispatched. In the previous program versions, the release of such dispatch orders led to the displayed error message. To release the order, the unpacked positions had to be deleted first. Let's now look at the dispatch setup, where we have implemented this improvement for companies that also want to deliver parts of dispatch orders. For this purpose, we have introduced the parameter Create New Dispatch Order from Unassigned Lines. After activating the parameter, the smooth release and posting of the dispatch order is now possible, and a new dispatch order for the undelivered positions has already automatically been created. To wrap this up, let me show you the posted dispatching order, which contains only the delivered positions. The presented functional enhancement significantly optimizes dispatching processing by efficient handling of partial deliveries. This leads to clear, flexible, and error-free processes. Sales price calculation with shipment date. Today's challenges require more flexible pricing. The standard pricing of Business Central determines the prices based on the order date of a sales order. This may not be sufficient in some situations, like if the delivery date is well into the future and a completely different prices may apply. With our improvement, you can calculate the prices based on the delivery date for an item in the line. Therefore, the promised delivery date, or in some cases the planned shipment date, is used to find a future sales price. We create a new sales order on the 1st January of 2025 for the item Athens desk. The calculated price based on the order date is $1,000. Under Line, Functions, and then Get Price, you can see that there are two different prices for this item. From the 21st of January, the price should be $1,250. If now the price calculation method in the order is changed to delivery date, the lines are recalculated. Due to the planned shipment date and the empty promised delivery date, €1,000 is still the price. The promised delivery date is now updated with a date later the 20th, the new price will be applied. After the price has been confirmed to the customer with an order confirmation, no new pricing will take place when dates are changed. To activate the functionality, the pricing date in the sales and receivables setup must have a value other than default. Here you can specify whether the order date or the delivery date is the default setting for the company. This global setting can be overwritten on the customer for the individual case. Price information from different bill to customer. Business Central Standard always uses the bill to customer as the one to find a price information, but that was done for price quotes. So as a user, you needed to know when a customer, say a subsidiary, had a differing bill to customer like a holding. To get the right price, you had to remember or look up the information and do the price quote from this holding. Our change now simplifies the price quotes, defaults price information, and errors can be avoided. We now take by default the respective bill to customer, and additionally, you are able to choose between bill to and sell to customer in the price quote if you need to. Let me show you how this change works. Our key account, Alpine Ski House Holding, has set a price of $900 for the Athens desk. For this item, only one additional price for all customers of $950 is available. Alpine Ski House Holding has a subsidiary in Innsbruck. Instead of the subsidiary, the holding company is to receive and pay the invoices. This is why we insert the holding company as the bill to customer for the customer Alpine Ski House Innsbruck in invoicing section on the customer card. We are now opening a new price quote for Alpine Ski House Innsbruck. Let's query the price for the item Athens desk. The price of $900 from the holding company is displayed, not the price of $950 for all customers. Before the change, the price information would have shown the price for all customers. The user would have had to know that the price information had to be obtained from the holding company. If the feature for selecting the pricing customer is active, it is possible to switch to sell to customer pricing. This will now determine the price $950. To ensure that this price is also taken into account for documents, the pricing customer must be set accordingly on the customer card. Extensibility for not billable in documents. We have revised our not billable functionality. Before, we had a fixed selection of options to choose from, and there were no default handling possibilities. Now users can add the individual required values and translations themselves. The individual handling options can be set automatically in the line so that the user is no longer asked about it when entering the document line. In addition, the not billable option can be stored as a default for sales order type, items, item variants, and price list lines. This makes the functionality more flexible, the process can be standardized, and the input can be faster by default. The following videos will introduce you to the general activation and setup, the default handling for adding to document and price list lines. Let's jump directly into our Booster app to get a closer look. The feature must be activated via KUMAVISION Feature Management. The feature is automatically activated with BC29 and is a one-way feature due to the data migration. Please be aware that depending on the amount of existing data, the data migration process takes a while, as all document lines must be updated. The new table is pre-assigned with the already existing values for current companies. The default in handling the document lines is Ask. This means that the system will give you possibilities to choose from after activation, just like before. To see the result, we create a new sales order and enter an item line. After the line has been entered, we select an existing entry from the Not Billable table. As before, the system asks whether the line discount should be set to 100% or the price and the line discount should be set to 0. We select the first option and the line discount is set to 100%. The Ask option for handling in the document line has just been introduced. Now, let's take a look at the other options within Not Billable list. With the other two options, you are no longer asked when you enter them in the sales line. With the full discount option, the discount is automatically set to 100. We set this for the free option. For the goodwill, we use the third option, Empty Price and Line Discount, so that the price and the line discount are immediately set to 0. Here you can store a translation for each data record, which is then used for printing documents. Now let's create a new order with item lines and look at the effects of our setup. We select free on the line and the discount is set to 100% without prompting. In the next line, we select goodwill and the price and discount are cleared immediately. Easy to handle, isn't it? We can also store the not billable code at items, item variants, in the sales order type and price list line as a default. For example, I will show you how to do it on the price list. Select a price list and move to the lines. Only not billable codes without the handling Ask can be used for defaulting. Let's enter the free in the discount line. The discount is set to 100%, so that this line is also used in pricing. This is how it later will appear on a sales or service document line. We once more create a new sales order to proof. After entering the quantity, the not billable code is immediately transferred to the line. To wrap up the topic, not billable records can either be entered manually or automatically through a default setting in sales or service lines. By the way, this is not only possible for items, but resources and others as well. If not billable codes are stored at several sources, this results in the following priorities. Sales order type, item variant, item, and last price list line. If required, this defaulting can be overwritten manually on the document line. Using Microsoft Rich Text Editor. The editor is used to create and manage formatted text content that appears on printed or digital documents such as invoices or reports. To ensure a consistent and unified user interface, the legacy KUMAVISION editor will no longer be used and not be available in future versions. Starting with Business Central 27, the Microsoft Rich Text Editor is enabled by default across all environments. If you like to use it earlier, the editor can be activated via the KUMAVISION feature management, as shown in the following short video. To activate the new editor, please open KUMAVISION Feature Management. The feature can currently be enabled or disabled, but will be automatically enabled with BC27. The editor is used to save formatted texts. This allows you, for example, to save extended text with customized individual formatting, like here in our example for a customer. The Rich Text Editor is available for texts that are transferred to the KUMAVISION document texts. These texts can then be printed in the documents, but be aware, formatted text cannot be transferred to Business Central document lines. You can call up the editor here in the lines where then the text can be formatted. Please note that not all formatting is supported when printing reports. After closing the editor, a preview is visible in the fact box and a plain text is displayed in the line. Module Compliance Check. Apply filters with wildcards. Previously, the complete filter value always had to be specified for the field filter of the compliance data records. Now wildcards can be used there. Our example is based on filtering item groups that are prefixed within the item numbers. The use of wildcards means that fewer compliance table data records are required and thus enables a simplified setup and provides a better overview of the compliance check setup. Whether a data record falls under the compliance check is set up in the compliance tables. Since there have always been problems with the data for whole roasted beans in the past, we want to set up a compliance check and therefore create a data record for items in the page compliance tables. As we only want to check the items mentioned before, we need to define field filters. We enter the item number in the field number. Previously, only complete values could be entered in the field value field. This is still possible using the lookup function. Our items are coded using prefixes in the number series. We can filter all whole roasted beans into the check using the wildcard WRB*. Then we need to activate the check by setting the status field to released. When we now complete a change to a whole roasted beans item, the compliance check is triggered. Module Label, Interface integrating Bartender REST API for Cloud. We have developed a new connection to Bartender Cloud for the KUMAVISION Label interface. This new connection is enabling seamless integration of the cloud-based labeling solution. The configuration is centrally managed through the label interface setup, including OAuth 2 authentication, and direct API connectivity for optimal performance. Additionally, users can set up printers in Bartender Cloud and update them automatically with just one click into Business Central under Bartender Printers within the ribbon of the setup. We are now leaving our Booster app to take a look at our other apps and what has changed there. Let's move on to our quality management and check out what is new here. Create setup and demo data. Herewith, we are helping you optimize and make more efficient both the initial setup and your onboarding processes. But please be aware that while setup data are useful to get started in your production environment, demo data aren't and therefore should not be created. They are only for testing. And if you already created some or all of the setup yourself already, please do not use this feature as your manual data will be overwritten then. This functionality can be opened via Tell Me and KUMAVISION setup and demo data, and provides a centralized way to manage setup and sample data across all KUMAVISION solutions. For the Quality Management module, this means you can generate all necessary master data and a standard setup with just a few clicks. You have two options here. If you are in a production environment, you can just use Create Setup Data and skip the demo data part, or in a test environment, use the function Create Setup and Demo Data like we do now. This may take a moment. And that's it. You are good to start your test now without further preparation. The next app with a change good to know is the Creditsafe app. View credit report without download. We have now improved the viewing of a credit report so that it can be viewed directly without having to download it first. However, it can still be downloaded if desired. To show you how it works, we are starting within a vendor card. We could also do the same, for example, from a customer or a contact. On the right-hand side in the info box, you already find a lot of important information from the credit report. However, there might be situations where you need more detail than that and need to dig in a bit deeper. Then click on Last Credit Safe Credit Check and Show Credit Report. The credit report is opened without downloading it. You can now view the whole report. If you then decide to download or print it, you can do it directly down here. Next improvement is within our Sanction Check app. Sanction checks for prepayment. In addition to the other checks, you can now also activate an automatic check to be carried out when posting a sales or a purchase prepayment. And of course, this has been added to the assisted setup as well. Let's go on with quite some DMS and ECM features worth looking at them. Add new action in fact box to display a list of all tags for a file. In addition to the documents themselves, keywords are stored for the documents in the course of archiving via the DMS and ECM interface, but also partly by the DMS systems themselves. Previously, these additional data were not visible separately from the document in Business Central, but had to be defined for display, for example, in the document tree grid via the display definition. This has been changed with the current release. Let's go to the Documents info box, for example, at a customer. We choose a document, and within the menu on document level, a separate List Tags action has been integrated to view the keywords that are stored for a document. After selecting the function, all keywords that are returned via the service are displayed in a separate view. Please notice, it is not possible to change values here. Combine Document Tree View and Document Viewer Control add-ins. In this short video, I will tell you more about the newly combined control add-ins of the Document Tree Grid and the Document Viewer. After the last changes to the app, two display areas are used side by side in the document search. On the one hand, this is the Document Tree Grid control on the left-hand side, which displays a tree structure of folders and documents. Secondly, the preview can be displayed in the right-hand section of the window by double-clicking on a document or selecting the document action, Open File. These sections were always fixed in the window display and could therefore not be divided variably. This has been corrected with the adjustment shown here. In order to show you the change, we will call the document search page that is part of the DMS and ECM interface. The document search can be opened from various places, both as a standalone page and from the fact boxes of the respective standard pages. If the document search page is called from a fact box, some information such as the search definition used or the selected data record is already transferred to the search. Both the type of tree structure and the display of the document preview depend on the selected setup parameters. More information on this can be found in the DMS and ECM Interface setup video. After double-clicking on a document in the tree view, the preview is displayed on the right-hand side of the screen. As known from other programs, the width of the views can be changed by grabbing and dragging the dividing line between the areas, so that either more keyword information or a larger preview is visible. Enlarge document tree grid view to allow selection of entries. If documents were to be downloaded in previous releases of the app, this was only ever possible on a document-by-document basis with separate calls to action in each case. The process and new actions, such as the option to send archived documents by email, have been raised to a new usability level with this adjustment. With the change mentioned here, it is now possible to select several documents or entire folder structures and then download them in a bundle or send them by email. To select all displayed documents, a new action button has been displayed in the top right-hand area of the control. With one click, all files can be selected or deselected. The icon of the button indicates at any time whether the structures are selected or not. Furthermore, all files in a single folder can be selected or deselected via a new button at folder level on the right. Here too, the button icon indicates whether the respective folder or only individual files it contains have been selected. Last but not least, it is of course also possible to select individual files. For this purpose, a checkbox has been inserted in front of the file name, which makes the selection possible. For the following example, we would like to resend a contact the two documents relating to the consulting hours and the trade fair invitation. The last two invoices and any attachments should also be included. The whole thing is to be downloaded as a file so that the download file says action is selected. As a result, we will receive a zip file with all the selected documents as a download. Send selected documents from the search mask by email. In practical work with documents, it often happens that one or more documents are not available at a business partner's side and therefore need to be resent. For this purpose, the current release of the DMS and ECM Interface app provides a simplified option for sending selected archived documents to internal or external email recipients. In Business Central, it is possible by default to use different email procedures and to assign the dispatch route to specific processes via email scenarios. This has also been taken into account for the way in which DMS documents are sent by email. To set up an email procedure, the standard Microsoft documentation should be followed. Basically, the setup is done via the Setup Email Wizard. The procedure to be used can be specified here. Depending on the option selected, further setup parameters may be necessary. If different email procedures are used in the company, the procedure to be used for sending documents via the DMS and ECM interface can be defined by storing an email scenario. For this purpose, the Email Scenario Assignment page is used to assign the DMS and ECM interface send documents scenario to the corresponding procedure. Let's move on to a customer to see how it works. The email files action has been integrated to send documents straight ahead from the Documents fact box. This action makes it possible to attach selected documents to an email and send them. After selecting documents and calling up the email files action, a window opens for sending the email. The information displayed here may vary depending on the selected email procedure. The selection of multiple documents is also a new feature in this release. A separate video is available on its use and possibilities, so I will not go into this feature in detail here. Please note that in the case of multiple file selection, the documents are attached to the email individually and not as a zip archive. Versioning of DMS documents. In the area of structured document archiving, there are always situations in which no new documents are created, but existing documents are versioned or new archiving attempts are to be prevented. For example, in the case of sales or purchase quotes and orders, the documents may change in the course of business initiation. On the other hand, it is generally not possible to change data for documents that have already been posted in Business Central, which may prevent them from being archived again. The general rule in this context is that the system only recognizes a supposed duplicate of a document if one or more hits already exist in the DMS system for defined keywords in conjunction with the file name of the document. But let's take a look at the changes in detail. The behavior for supposed duplicates of a document is defined in the storage definitions within the duplicate settings area. So let's take a look at the storage definition for printing sales quotes. First of all, we need to deactivate the storage definition in order to make changes to the configuration. Here, the duplicate handling field can be used to decide whether a check should take place at all and how duplicates should be handled. The decision options here differentiate between always create new document, in which case no duplicate check is carried out, document versioning, where a new archiving attempt creates a new document version in the DMS system, ignore duplicate storage, which prevents a new version or a new document from being created for a document that has already been stored. As we want to activate the handling of duplicates via the versioning of changed sales quotes at this point, we select the document versioning option here. If the search for duplicates returns more than one hit, it may not be possible to clearly assign an entry. You can therefore use the multiple document version handling field to decide how the system should behave. In this case, a new independent document can be created using the Create New Document option. The first duplicate entry found can be versioned via version first hit. An error can be output via throw error, so that an administrator has to intervene at this point and possibly make corrections in the DMS system. In this case, we would like a new document to be created for multiple hits, and therefore use the Create New Document option. To complete the setup of the duplicate handling, it is now necessary to define which keywords should be used to find one or more duplicates, in addition to the file name match. A field with the name Document Versioning Identifier is to be found in the list of storage definition tags at the bottom of the storage definition for this purpose. In this example, we would like to specify that a duplicate of the sales quotes is defined by the fact that the values of the keywords document type, document number, company, and environment are identical in addition to the file name. The fields in your system or your storage definitions may differ, and therefore do not have to match the information shown here. The activation completes the setup of the storage definition, and the ES definition is used in the following explained scenario. Now, of course, I would like to test whether the settings made were successful. To do this, we will create a sales quote, print and archive it. Then we will change this specific sales quote and print and archive it again, so that at the end only the latest version is visible in the document tree grid. But we can also see the previous version by accessing the DMS system. So let's see this in Business Central. We create a new sales quote for the customer, a Datum Corporation, using the standard processing options in Business Central. This quote should contain the article Berlin Guest Chair with quantity of 1. We print the quote, and in the background, the printed document is stored as a PDF file in the DMS system using the automation logic of the DMS and ECM interface. We can also see this in the Documents fact box, where there is now a new entry with the archived document from the DMS system. When we open this document, we see the printout with the Berlin Guest Chair in it. As the customer has decided to increase the number of chairs to 4 and add a table to the offer, we adjust the sales quote accordingly. We then print out the quotation again to send it to the customer. In the background, the printout is again converted to a PDF and stored in the DMS system. However, we can see that no further document has been created in the fact box, but that there is still only one stored document. If we open the document from the DMS system in the preview, we can see that the old document has been replaced by the new one. Now we open the folder within the DMS system, in this case Microsoft SharePoint Online. And call up the version history for the document. Here you can see that the document has changed. In addition to the logging, each version can be called up by clicking the modified date, which can be restricted by the DMS administration. So we can open the old version, as well as the new one. These are some of our 2025 Wave 1 changes, which include several exciting updates and enhancements designed to improve user experience and system efficiency. For more detailed guidance, feel free to explore our other instructional videos on YouTube, the product videos within Business Central, or our comprehensive online help for all KUMAVISION products at the given links. Thanks for watching!